Friedrich Otto was a German writer. He was born in 1877 in Neumünster. In 1902 he published his first book, a book of poems. During World War I he wrote several propagandistic works, Das Unterseeboot im Kampfe, or Then fahren wir gegen England, i.e. the submarine in battle and we go against England. In 1918 he published Sieben Erzählungen, which we shall review today. His other two books are Abenteuer aus aller Welt and the children's book Im Paradies der Feldmäuse und andere Tiergeschichten, i.e. in the Field Mouse Paradise and other animal tales. He died in 1924 in Berlin. Along the seashore has Raimund Oppen leave a dance and then walk along the seashore. But his aim isn't to take a walk. He is simply tired of his life and wants to kill himself, and he slowly undresses along the way, coming to terms with killing himself by morning, saying my favorite line in the book, but because people don't go for a walk naked, he had to die. He doesn't succeed though, and the ocean chucks him back out when he tries to jump in. Atropine and other such things has a man at a pub be drawn into an argument by the director of an insane asylum about how what sane people perceive with their senses is just as real as what his own maniacs perceive with their own warped perception. When he tells this to his druggist Tschentscher gives him a bunch of drugs and makes him trip balls for the rest of the night to prove the director's point. Madea Sorit, the story of an Indian snake dancer, concerns Yotka, a very impulsive painter, seeing an Indian snake dancer on the stage and wanting to paint her. Eventually he learns she was reared in complete isolation from the outside world by a failed fakir, though when she falls sick he takes care of her and she agrees to marry him, but is crushed to death by a snake in a final performance. Ivan the Terrible is the story of a poor Russian painter who falls in love with his muse after his first muse, a prostitute, is found murdered in the river. But when a German prince wants to court his new muse, he cuts her up and sends the man her torso disguised as a bust. Cutler Neckans has a man join an orchid hunt in South America by accident, trying to prevent Jensen, the leader of the expedition, from murdering the natives to get his precious orchid. But priests hidden in a hollow tree with poisoned arrows and a nest of poisonous snakes kill Jensen and several other members of the expedition, which keeps losing members along the way back to Europe in a series of tragic coincidences, only for the millionaire who bought the only Cutler Neckans in Europe being murdered in his home and the orchid disappearing forever. The Islanders, an old sailor, visit a bar and talk about the time he and his ship found a new island on the way from New Zealand. Arriving on the island, they plan to stick a German flag in it, but are almost killed as the island is really a giant kraken, and it keeps following them until they throw an excavator at it. In the fever forest of the Grungogi has an old sailor retired to the Achterwasser Lagoon tell the story of his life, which not a single person had ever believed. 52 years ago, he was sailing on board a ship when the captain and other officers told him and two others to guard the ship, as they will just take a quick dip to the shore and be right back. Only they punch holes in the ship and want to sink it with them on it as part of an insurance scam. The 3 sailors make it to shore thanks to some native fishermen coming to strip the ship of anything that has any value. But the 3 have no way to leave the tiny fisher village, and when they try, 2/3 of them die. Only the narrator survives to try again in a bit, only to come to a land where people live bound inside black sacks, and told he may never leave or take it off, as being naked in this country is punishable by death by a giant armadillo. He spends almost a year in this terrible confinement, before he is rescued by the insurance company raising hell and high water to find him, so they don't have to pay anything.